So welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will be talking about chapter number 5, which is all about functions. और again 30 marks का टेस्ट है हमारे पास, 60 minutes है आपके पास. फर्स्ट आपके पास शॉर्ट 4 ऑब्जेक्टिव क्वेश्चन में MCQs हैं, then some short questions and then some long questions. So first हमारे पास ऑब्जेक्टिव है जिसमें आपके पास 4 शॉर्ट क्वेश्चंस है, 4 MCQs हैं और आपके पास हर MCQs के 4 मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चन ऑप्शंस हैं. So in question number 1, a good problem solving approach is to divide the problem into blank parts of sub problems. So एक जो good problem solving approach है उसमें आपके पास क्या ऐसी अप्रोच होती है कि आपके एक प्रॉब्लम को कितने सब पार्ट्स में डिवाइड करें, 2 में करें, 3 में करें, 1 में करें या मल्टीपल सब प्रॉब्लम्स में डिवाइड करें. सो वी हैव स्टडीड दैट इन चैप्टर नंबर 5 दैट a good problem solving approach is to divide the problem into multiple sub problems. So the correct option is multiple smaller parts of sub problems. Question number 2, there may be multiple blank statements in a function. So एक function के अंदर multiple कितनी रिटर्न होती हैं स्टेटमेंट्स या कॉलिंग स्टेटमेंट होती हैं या फंक्शन. सो इन अ फंक्शन देयर मे बी मल्टीपल रिटर्न स्टेटमेंट्स, क्योंकि कॉलिंग तो आउटसाइड द फंक्शन हम लोग मल्टीपल टाइम्स कर सकते हैं, बट विद इन द फंक्शन देयर इज ओनली वन थिंग विच इज रिटर्न स्टेटमेंट्स दैट कैन बी मल्टीपल, but only at a time one return statement will be worked. Okay, so the point A is the correct answer. Question number 3, readability helps to blank the code. So readability किन चीज़ों को help करती है? To understand, modify, debug और all. So it's pretty understood that readability help करती है debug में, understand करने में. जब हम understand करेंगे तो modify करेंगे, modify कर सकेंगे तो उसके debugging भी कर सकेंगे. So point D is the correct answer. Next, fourth, blank means to transfer the control to another function. Calling, defining, rewriting, including. So वो कौन सी चीज होती है which means to transfer the control to another function, right? So the answer is calling, because when we call a function through some call, then we are transferring the control from one part to another part of the function, right? So the correct answer is A. These are objective portions from chapter number 5. Definitely we will be having a lot of other MCQs or short questions in our coming videos as well. So next is short questions. So in the short questions, we have 5 short questions. What is the difference between arguments and parameters? Give an example. So arguments क्या होते हैं, parameters क्या होते हैं? So when you are calling your function, एंड जो आप तब वेरिएबल्स और पैरामीटर्स पास करते हो, जो नंबर ऑफ जो डेटा पास करते हो उसको हम आर्ग्यूमेंट्स कहते हैं. उन आर्ग्यूमेंट्स को जो फंक्शन डेफिनेशन में डेटा रिसीव करते हैं, जो वेरिएबल्स रिसीव करते हैं, उन वेरिएबल को पैरामीटर्स कहते हैं. सो आर्ग्यूमेंट्स डिफाइंड इन calling the function, used while calling the function, and parameters used while defining a function. ठीक है, यानी कि int sum, int a, int b. सो a एंड b हमारे पास जो है वो पैरामीटर्स हैं, बट जब मैं इसी फंक्शन को कहीं और से कॉल करूंगी 3 and 4 से, so these 3 and 4 is basically my arguments, right? And these are my parameters. So this is the answer of difference between arguments and parameter. Write down the signatures of the function. So signature of the function is basically the function signature जो कि function की definition होती है, जैसे कि I have done over here. This is signature of the function. This one. While looking at the definition of the function, we can tell that this is going to be an int function. This is going to be a function name is sum, and it's taking two parameters a and b, and it's going to return a one variable which will going to be an integer data type. So the next question is, what is the function of int largest int? So this is a function definition is given, and we have to define a function. As the name is suggesting largest, so we will be having three variables, three parameters or three numbers. From these three numbers, we will be finding out the largest number and returning that variable, returning that largest number to the calling from wherever we will be calling that function. Question number 4, how do you know about the return keyword? So the return keyword is actually used to return the data type of the value returned by the function, right? So it's a keyword. If we return, will return something at the back from wherever we will be calling the function. Write a function int square in text to calculate the square of an integer. So it's pretty simple. We will be defining our writing our function like that, and inside that function we will be using return x multiplied by x. That's it. So next we have long questions. The first question is, what is meant by functions in C language? Explain function types and its advantages in details, right? So first you have to define the function's definition, and then you have to define the function types. And function is basically the body of a statement that perform a particular task. So there are two types of function, built-in function and user-defined function. Built-in functions are those functions which is available in C types library, and it's having some special meaning in C language. And on the other hand, user-defined function are the function which is defined by the developer, right? So built-in function, user-defined functions defined by user, and built-in function defined by the C standard library. And you can write down some built-in functions type, like for example printf, scanf, getch, etc. And in the user-defined function you can write int sum, int sum, int. So there will be two variables which we are going to sum. So in this way you can define and you can write down the advantages. So the advantages of functions are improve readability, improve usability, reduction of complexity of code, and we can separate tasks in different modules, easy to manage code, and a lot of others as well. So the next question is, write a program is prime that takes a number as the input and return 1 if the number is prime. Otherwise return 0. Use this function in main. So First, we need to know that what is prime number. So if we are not clear, we can Google it, but here we are using an extension of Word which is called autopilot. And here I'm going to ask a question from an autopilot that define prime numbers. So it's going to be work like a chat GPT, which will be giving me an answer of what is the prime numbers. So they are saying that prime numbers are a set of natural numbers greater than 1 that can only be divided by 1 and themselves without leaving any remainder. So all those numbers which is giving me a remainder, it means it is not a prime number, right? So I can define my prime number like this. First, let's just include libraries. Void main. So outside the main function, I have to define prime number and I have to return 1. So return type will be int is prime, my function name, and I will be taking 1 input. So that's why I have defined 1 parameter. Here I'm using for loop because I have to keep dividing my number until I reach the remainder part, right? So I'll be using int I equals to starting from 2 because all my prime numbers will be starting from 2, less than n, and I plus. Here I'm going to specify a condition that if my number modulus I equals to 0, it means at any point of it means that if any point of time I'll be getting 0 as a remainder, then it's not going to be a prime number. If it's not happening, then it means it's a prime number and I have to return 1, right? So I have defined my prime number. Now I'm going to use it in my int function as it is described in the second part of my question, right? So here I'm going to ask that please enter 1 input, printf, please enter a number. Scanf will be used to take input from the user, and I'll be saving that number in my x variable which I have previously defined. Now I'm using if is prime x true, then printf modulus b is a prime number, and here I'll be saying display else printf modulus d is not a prime number. So that's it for prime number and not prime number. So that's it for today. In the next lesson, we will be learning about all the short questions from the complete book